All right, we're here in on the edge of Illinois. The Mississippi is behind us. Our hotel is right over here, and we're just gonna go for a walk while the sun hasn't fully set. Get a nice view of the Mississippi. That's Iowa, right across the river. And we'll show you some B-roll. All right, so we're gonna do a quick recap of day 2 of our road trip. We started off in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
Today was interesting because I think we hit 8 tolls in total.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we had Easy Pass, otherwise it would have gotten really expensive. But
yes. Where we were going for our scenic kind of stop in the middle of the day, which was Chicago. It just happened to be somewhere near our route. It was towards the end of our route by the hotel. So we took a slight detour and went north into Chicago. And it was a beautiful city. And its skyline is pretty like astoundingly large. Like I was surprised by how many skyscrapers there were.
Yeah.
And how spread out they were as well. Obviously still not as humongous as New York. Where you can't even see ground. It's just a flat level of skyscraper. But in Chicago, I was expecting, I don't know, something a little less, but I was happily surprised.
Yeah. I mean, we were only in Chicago for a few hours, but based on what I saw, I would say Chicago is a baby New York.
Yeah, almost like in some ways, I can see how someone who might be overwhelmed by New York but still have some affinity for it might move to Chicago to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I would say like 2 takeaways from Chicago are
the drivers suck.
Yeah, the drivers suck, and also like in terms of cons, if any of you are planning to move to Chicago, make sure you save up extra money for gas because they're trying to rob you. Like the money that gas stations are charging, they're committing legal robberies on everyone. Yeah, it's so much more expensive than any of the other cities we passed through. And also the other con is parking. There are like hidden signs everywhere. The signs are not even legible in a lot of places.
Looks like a hurricane came through.
Yeah.
Right before every time you visit Chicago.
And cars are just parked so randomly on the street. It's so confusing. New York is way better in that.
Although I think that's definitely because we don't know Chicago, like literally at all.
Definitely.
And I don't want to say New York's great in its traffic. It's pretty crappy. But at least like the rules are straightforward. So we also found a pizza place and got deep dish pizza for the first time, and it was pretty good. We got a small pizza that we split in half. It was called the Classic, and so obviously when something's called the Classic, it's meant for tourists and no one actually orders it. But it was like some sausage and I guess mozzarella and sausage and tomato sauce, and it was pretty good, I'd say. I mean, I think it was a little light in the seasoning. I would have added some seasoning if I could.
Yeah.
But it was basically like a lasagna but less doughy.
Yeah. I would say no ingredient in the pizza stood out, but when it was all together, it was really solid. I would go back.
Yeah, I would get it again. And let's be real, I think if I had to choose though, I think opt for probably a New York slice of pizza in the end, just because of the fact that you can hold it and like fold it, and like like when you fold a slice of pizza and like at the end it concentrates and you take the first bite, you get like the angle, so you get a really thick bite when you fold it. That's like you can't recreate that with a knife and a fork and like a thing that you pull out with a spatula onto your thing, you know.
Facts.
So
another thing I really liked about Chicago is their architecture. We saw some really cool buildings, and also like a lot of the buildings are just directly next to each other.
Yeah.
So like the architecture kind of clashed, but it was really cool just to see different buildings right next to each other with different colors, different facades. There
was a huge variety in like the design of the skyscraper. I was very surprised. We noticed both that there was like, it seems like there was like a common pact between the architects that half the buildings would all have the same shiny, reflective, mirror-looking glass on the outside, so that when you looked at it, basically like the entire skyline was reflected on each other, and you had this like rebound effect that looked really cool. And they weren't scared to get creative with the architecture. Like buildings were wavy, they were like cut off at the top. They had giant like structures at the top. All sorts of like weird curves that was into the buildings. And it was like every single building had it. Where it's not like New York, maybe like one every third skyscraper has it. Just by virtue of New York having so many skyscrapers as well. But it was really, really cool.
Definitely looks more modern. We got to drive in the tunnels under Chicago where they filmed Batman. Which one was it?
Yeah.
That was a cool experience. But after Chicago, we headed out, we dipped, and then we went through the rest of Illinois. And keep in mind, if you ever eat Chicago deep dish pizza, beware. It will the strongest food coma is coming for you. It knocked Jeffrey right out after lunch, and it was my turn to drive, and it was really bad because we were on the interstate and I was nodding off, and I kept telling myself just a little more, and I couldn't get my like gum in my bag and stuff because I was driving, so I kept telling myself, once I hit the gas station, like once I run low on gas, I'll hit the gas station and then I'll like refresh myself. It was tough. So
we also had apparently like the world's most soothing playlist playing as well.
Thank you, Julian.
Julian's playlist is all like R&B and chill and like sad songs.
So yeah, now we ended up on the edge of Illinois. Right across the Mississippi River is Iowa. So we'll head there tomorrow. We have a nice view of the parking lot